Well, we don't have breaks around here. There's just too much going on, and there's just too much information to be talking about. Things are happening every single day. I feel like we could do a live stream every single day, but I don't know if I would make it mentally, man. I might have a mental breakdown if I have to do a stream every single day. But hey, to be fair, everyone who watches and supports the channel makes it worth it. So we pull through for you guys. And, last night we had a stream talking about Neymar, a couple other things. There's been some more news that's happened today, a couple agreements for the Chicago Fire, other pieces. But I thought it would be interesting to have my good friend Fabian Rankel over here or on the channel to get his opinion, see what he thinks about some of these moves. So I appreciate everybody coming back tonight, back-to-back nights, to talk about some of these moves, the impact of these moves, get more opinions on it. Had a little bit of a debate on Twitter earlier about the Atlanta United signing the striker because they reportedly made another bid for another striker. But before we get into that, Bobby, what's up, man? How's it going? You're muted right now. There you go.
Thank you for having me on. My apologies. It's a lot of things going on every single day. No breaks, as you say. It's the MLS offseason. We have our first game on Saturday. It's going to be a good one. It's free on Apple TV, Club America versus Inter Miami. So definitely tons to talk about. All these rumors, all these fake rumors, we need to go ahead and talk about too. So
we will get into that. But before we do, guys, listen, we have hit 170 plus likes in the last two videos. Let's hit the magic 200 on this one. I know we can do it. Now, are we going to do it tonight? Maybe not. But listen, let's try to hit it, get as close to that number as we can tonight. Smash the like button down below. Let's get to 50 really quick. We're almost at 40 viewers live right now. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because we're trying to hit 6,000 subscribers by MLS opening day, which is a little over a month away. And also hit the little bell notification so you never miss any of my live streams, new videos, shorts, posts, whatever it may be. Appreciate the support. Let's have another great show. So, Fabi, let's get into it. Now, there was a report earlier yesterday talking about Neymar possibly coming in MLS and more specifically coming to the Chicago Fire. Now, at first, people thought that it was a joke. It was an account from, I want to say it was a Saudi account, but it maybe was like a South American account. I'm not exactly sure what the where the person who posted originally was from. But then it started to gain a lot of steam and people started to give it credibility. Now it looks like there's a good chance it could happen. Now, Mr. Krabs says Neymar being coached by Greg. That would be funny as hell. But it looks like this has some legs. It looks like it really could happen. I don't know if it's going to be the Chicago Fire for sure.
It has legs because of one dumb MLS rule. And we all know that. The discovery rights rule. They own Neymar's discovery rights. And I've been saying this since day one this report came out. That's the only reason why the Chicago Fire are in on this. And yes, maybe they have ambitions to go ahead and sign Neymar, but Neymar's not coming anywhere near Chicago. That's for sure. I mean, unless they throw a Saudi bag at him, which I doubt they can, he's not going to step anywhere that's not Miami, LA, or New York. And that's just the honest truth. I mean, this is just a link, and this is how crazy the MLS community is getting for this guy. I mean, this is the guy if it's not Messi or Ronaldo, right? So, it's something that is very interesting. Chicago Fire owns his discovery rights rule, and honestly, this weekend I'm pretty frustrated because I want to ask how this discovery right, even happens. Like, how do you choose these names for these players that are global superstars? It makes no sense, right? So, it stopped Ronaldo from coming to MLS, and hopefully this doesn't stop Neymar from coming to MLS. So that rule's got to go, and it's got to go quickly.
Well, first of all, nobody discovered Neymar. I mean, in MLS. I mean, we've all talked about how stupid the discovery rule is. I mean, no one discovered Neymar, Zlatan, Erling Haaland, Mbappe, Gavi. Nobody discovered these players, man. It's an outdated dinosaur rule in MLS just to give certain teams so that way one team can't just stack all the players. They kind of do it like that, but it's still dumb, right? And like you said, what's the process of how you even get those rights? How do you? I mean, are you allotted one? Is it like a draft where right. Chicago, you get one discovery rights. Okay, now Miami, you get one. Like, I don't know what the process is for that. But it's dumb.
how long have they held these discovery rights for, right? Like, was Miami even a club before they owned their discovery rights of Neymar? Right? It's like it's such a dumb thing. We don't know anything about it. But Mascherano said it was impossible at the moment. They have one DP slot. I was trying to find out from some sources if that's still the case, if they have one DP slot open. Maybe Jordi Alba or Suarez have become a DP, and that's something I'm trying to get to the end of. But from some sources, let's just say nobody really want to talk about anything. I think if Jordi Alba got a raise, we would be hearing about it. His salary would be kind of like, because he had a good season, he gets a DP salary now. But it's interesting. I want to know if Mascherano, I'm going to ask him this weekend out in Vegas, what he meant by impossible, because currently they only have 2 DPs on the roster, so it would be possible.
I agree. That's exactly what I was thinking, because they only have 3 U22s. They have 2 DPs, like you said. They should, in theory, be able to sign Neymar as a DP. But like I said last night, let's talk about what this would mean for the league, because that's kind of what I want to get your opinion on, right? Let's just say he comes to MLS. Let's say whether it goes to Chicago or another team, the impact he would have on the league. Now, I personally said last night, I don't want Neymar to go to Miami and recreate MSN, because I think it's bad for the league as far as you're putting all your eggs into the Miami basket and you're not really giving people incentive or a reason to want to watch other teams play. So if you spread out these big names, you'll watch Chicago, you'll watch LAFC, you'll watch Miami. And I even asked the chat last night, Fabi, I said, when is the last time you guys watched a Chicago Fire match when your team wasn't playing them? And everybody, it was unanimous. Everybody said never.
Yeah, Chicago Fire was a hard watch, that's for sure. I mean,
yeah,
I probably had to watch them if I was working on the game, but that's it.
Exactly. So people aren't watching Chicago. It's the 3rd biggest city in the United States. They've only made the playoffs twice in the last 15 years. So let's just talk about the impact of the league, right? Now, obviously, Neymar is probably the 3rd biggest name of our generation, I would say, only behind Messi and Ronaldo. What would his signing do for the league? Now, he reportedly wants $20 million, or that's what the Chicago Fire are offering him, around $20 million. They're offering him some endorsement deals to raise that up even more, to give him more money. What would you say the impact he would have just from a name recognition standpoint on the league?
Oh, it would be huge. I mean, let's see. Like, his salary would be maybe about 40 million, I would say. Okay, how much does it cost to make an Apple TV commercial or an Apple commercial? Let's say 20 million. I mean, Neymar playing on an iPhone and then turning around and looking at the camera and winking, commercial over. You know how big for Apple this is? This would be huge. Neymar is such a well-known name. I mean, people hear Neymar, and if they're not even a soccer fan, they know who Neymar is. So I think for Apple, this would be a huge get. I mean, I don't agree with you, to be honest. I think Neymar should be on Miami, because then Apple TV can really just dive into all the commercials and say MSN is exclusively on Apple TV. And that right there would be so good for Apple TV that I wouldn't, if I'm Apple, I'm not even letting Neymar touch Chicago. There is a report that, Greg Berhalter and the sporting director of Chicago have flown to Saudi to talk to Neymar. That has come out as fake. Many sources have said that is fake, so don't believe that report. But again, this would be so big for the league. You would get non-soccer fans to watch on Apple TV, and that's so big. Personally, I think having a collab with Jordan too, this player and Puma, this player has already been in the mainstream media, and I bet you anything will definitely be in mainstream media once he's in the United States. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if I saw Neymar in Las Vegas when Miami's playing. So I'm gonna be looking at those luxury boxes, because if Neymar is there, that's gonna mean a lot more than just him seeing a game. But who knows? I mean, a U22 is the reason why it's impossible, but they can essentially move on from a U22 in a heartbeat. I mean, you're not going to keep Benjamin Kromaski so that you can not get Neymar. So personally,
well, I wanted to clarify that real quick. So I'm on the team website because a member of the channel, which I appreciate you commenting, Robert, they have Benjamin Kremasky as a homegrown player. He's not a U22. They have him listed right here as homegrown player category, roster category, supplemental slots 21 through 24. Their fourth U22 was what's Emerson Rodriguez, but
right.
I think they're about to buy him out or loan him out again. So they will have Facundo Frias, they will have Toto Alvarez, like you said, and Federico Redondo. Those are the three U22s they have. And there's even a rumor, or there has been a rumor about Facundo Frias being a swap deal with racing for Baltasar Rodriguez. So
I actually don't see that happening right now because Facundo Farias is actually on the preseason tour. So he's gonna be able to play in versus Club America. So as of right now, that rumor is very, very cold because you're not going to play a player that's on his way out, right? So he probably won't even travel with them. So as of right now, that one's cold. So personally, though, I think you would make room for Neymar. I mean, shoot, you can give up Facundo. I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy, but you can give up a U22 to Chicago for the discovery rights of Neymar. I know that's a crazy take, but at the end of the day, you can trade them a lot or give them Robert Taylor for it, right? I mean, you can do a lot to get that discovery rights. And it's such a stupid rule. Honestly, it pisses me off. But again, this is something that Apple needs and that the American soccer need. I mean, we haven't talked anything but Neymar for the last 3 days. And it was literally just a feeler type of a feeler type of contract negotiation with Neymar. So it's not even like a serious one. But this is crazy. I mean, honestly, yeah, I mean, they're saving for Di Maria. Okay, I can see that too. But maybe Di Maria can take a homie discount just like Suarez and Jordi Alba did, right? So we'll see.
Supposedly. We don't know that yet. Like you said, we'll have to see if that's really what happened. Because Luis Suarez, what was he, third place in MLS in goals? I mean,
Right.
he honestly deserves a pay raise for his season. But I want to get the chat involved. I want you guys to tell me, because me and Favi disagree on this. Do you guys want to see MSN reunite in Miami, or do you want Neymar to go to another MLS team to spread the wealth, as they would say, or to get more interest in other teams? Would you rather him go to Miami or another MLS team? Let me know in the comment section down below. You guys know where I stand. I'd like to see him. I'd like to see it spread out. I'd like to see him go play somewhere else. Give us another team to want to watch. Get Griezmann to LAFC. Get Neymar to Chicago. Keep Miami the way it is. They can add some pieces, but I want to see it spread out. I want a reason to, like you guys said, you don't watch Chicago Fire matches. Let's have a reason to want to watch Chicago Fire matches. Let's awaken the sleeping giant in Chicago. All the soccer fans in that town, give them a reason to want to go watch their team play.
Well, I mean, you have a reason to watch Chicago this year anyway. I mean, if you're a USMNT fan, you'll watch Greg Berhalter. I mean, one of the best USMNT coaches of all time, right?
No,
or maybe you're hate watching. So
that's fine as long as you're watching, right? I mean, so a lot of people are saying there's a couple people. Jesse says yes for Miami. Rocky says spread the wealth. Devin Posey says go to another team. Mike in Brazil says I just want MLS to get Neymar. I agree. I would love to see him in MLS. I do want to see him just MLS, but I think it'd be best if he was in another team.
Let me tell you this. Neymar to Miami would be way better for soccer in the United States. Soccer would be in the mainstream 100%.
You don't think it would if he plays for another team?
No.
Why?
This would be another Al Hilal situation where he doesn't want to play and he gets injured.
Okay, well, let's talk about that for a second because that's a good segue because we have some other stuff to talk about tonight. So let's talk about that. Let's say he signs, regardless if it's Miami, regardless if it's Chicago. At this point, Neymar has only played what 3 matches. He's got a long list here on Wikipedia. Let's get down to his career statistics. Okay, so he's only played 3 regular season matches in the last 2 years for Al Hilal, right?
Right.
He is 32 years old. What does he have left to give on the pitch?
A lot. He's 32 years old, and he's arguably the 3rd best player in the world.
3rd best player in the world?
At some point of his prime, He was the third best player in the world.
Yeah, I agree. But how many years ago was that?
I no, maybe about 3 or 4 years ago. But still, I mean, he's 32 years old.
Well, here's the issue, though. We kind of talked a little bit about this last night. He hasn't played 30 matches in a regular season since 2016, 2017. The most he ever played at PSG was 22 games in 21-22. So he definitely has some injury concerns. He's very not 30 more. Yes, in 20s. Hey, listen, give Fabi a little bit of a break. Hey, he's just reminiscing it. Time goes by fast. Time goes by fast.
COVID years, it makes it feel like it was last year, So honestly, yeah, Neymar. Okay, how about this? Neymar is the third biggest player in the world, and I don't
recognition wise,
recognition wise, and I don't even think. But see, this is weird about Neymar. Brazil's not the same animal without him. Brazil is not Brazil without Neymar. And Vinicius is like the third best player in the world today, but he's not Neymar.
Well, I don't think Neymar is washed. Okay, here's what I honestly think, right? I think that Neymar and whoever his agent is, whether it's his dad or an actual agent, wanted him to go to Saudi because of the money. He's getting paid like $100 million a year. They wanted to cash out because why wouldn't you? I mean, you're going to get paid a lot of money to play in the league like Ronaldo did and other players. And I think he got there and he's just like, I really don't want to play here. I don't have any motivation. This league isn't very good. I just don't really. I just took a check. I don't want to play here. So I think he's just not motivated. But I think if he came to MLS and he's playing against Messi or playing with Messi or whatever it may be, that would reignite his career. That would reinvigorate him, make him motivated once again. So I think playing in MLS would help get him back to the way he was. Now, is Neymar as good as he was at Barca? Absolutely not. Is he as good as he was at PSG? Probably not. Is he still very good? And is he good enough to play in MLS? Of course he is.
Suarez. If he's healthy and playing, does he start for Brazil?
Yes.
Over who?
Well, that's the thing. When he played for Brazil, every time I've ever watched him play for Brazil, he was playing up top. So, I think that's another thing that I'll be interested to see is in MLS, will he play up top or will he play on the wing? Because, Ronaldo played on the wing at Madrid. He played on the left wing, but he played up top when he played for Portugal. So I think Neymar could play up top for Chicago. He could play on the wing. I mean, he can play anywhere up front in the front three, but I think he definitely could play for Brazil if he scores and he is healthy. He's not retired from the national team. And I know I was talking to Filippo earlier.
Does he start over Rafinha?
No.
Okay. Well, then he's not starting.
Well, it depends. I think if Rodrigo's not playing well, Rafinha could start. Right.
If Neymar's fit, not overweight, and motivated at his level right now, does he start over Rafinha, Rodrigo, or Vinicius? Right. That's what it would be.
Man. It really just depends how well he's playing in MLS. It depends on how well he's playing in MLS and how those guys are playing because Messi is still starting for Argentina.
What's funny is everyone's saying he starts over Rodrigo, but Rodrigo plays so well for Brazil. It's actually kind of funny.
Yeah, he does. He's one of those. I mean, he's good for Madrid, obviously, too, but he does elevate his game when he plays for the national team. Okay, do you guys think that Neymar could start for the Brazilian national team at this point? I think if he's playing well enough, he could. Robert, member of the channel, says, speaking of that, how does Brazil produce all these players and all their strikers are bad?
Because they all want to be saucy with it. They can't play without the ball at their feet.
Yeah, they're the best at producing guys on the wing, but not guys on top. By the way, Fabi, 103 people watching live right now. We're at 42 likes. Let's get to 50 likes, guys. Smash that like button down below if you haven't already. Let's get to 50.
42? I mean, we need 200 by the end.
We need 200 before tomorrow, but let's at least get to 50, guys. We're so close. Smash that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also, too, like my friend Robert and my friend Mr. both became members of the channel yesterday, which I greatly appreciate. If you enjoy the content that we make, you love these live streams, you like the videos I make, hit the link down below, become a member of the channel. It helps us out. It helps us produce all this content you love. So check it out. Become a member if you haven't already. We really and greatly appreciate it. A lot of people says, or Jesse says, yes, I believe so. I think he would be a starter for Brazil. Let's see. MNB says he will get in the squad. Site at 1X says they won't bench Neymar for Brazil. They'll find a way to start him if he's consistently playing for a club. I think he could come to MLS, and I do think he could score probably 20 goals in the season if he plays at least in the amount of matches that Messi and Suarez plays, because Suarez is 5 years older than him, probably has, I would say definitely has worse knees at this point in his career. If Suarez can score 20 goals, Favi, in 25 matches, why can't Neymar score 20 goals if he can play 25 matches?
No, I mean, 100% Neymar is going to cook this league. We're talking about, is Neymar still in the top 20, top 15 players in the world, right? I mean, is Messi still in the top 15 players in the world?
Yeah, of course. He's top 5.
Still?
Yes.
Today?
Yes, he could play for any club in the world. Yes.
And you don't think Neymar could?
No.
If he's not overweight, if he's healthy, and if he's motivated.
But here's the thing about Neymar. We haven't seen him do this in years. Like, he literally has not played. He has not scored a goal in league play since 2023. 2 years. So he has a lot more to prove, where Messi is at least consistently balling out no matter where he's at. We know Messi's still good. Now, Neymar he could be a top 30 to 40 player in the world still if he's healthy, if he's fit, if he's playing. Yes, he could be a top 30, top 40 player in the world still, but he has to prove himself. He has to be healthy. He has to score. He has to play. He has a lot more to prove right now, but I think he could do that in MLS. I really do. I think he could come here. I think he could play. I think he could get healthy. I think he could be, most importantly, motivated. Yeah. He needs to be motivated again. I just don't think the Saudi League motivates him.
No, I 100% agree. I think, I mean, yeah, any club in MLS, if anybody in this chat is saying their team should not go for Neymar because it's too many red flags, you guys are crazy, because this is a possible top 20 player in the world, right? So you're going to want him no matter what. Personally, I think he has to be motivated, and I think he's only going to be motivated in Miami. And I think some report came out today, I saw on a Messi fan page, that he was talking about his time at PSG, where once Messi came into the fold at PSG, Mbappe started getting jealous of Neymar and Messi's relationship. And I think this is something where Neymar wants to play with Messi again. And I think this is something where Neymar wants to go to Miami. Now, the conversation is, how much do you think in GAM Chicago can get for his discovery rights?
Well, I want to move over to the Chicago moves today, so we'll talk about that after this. But as far as what they would, I think that the typical amount of GAM for the discovery rights is like 200, 300K. Because
it was 400, if I'm not mistaken.
400, yeah, but I don't think that was up front. I think that was like spread. That was like over 2 seasons. I think it was like 200K for the first year, and then 200K for the next year. Let's see. I'm looking to see if I can find the Marco Royce. Okay, so 350K is what they paid for him, and it looks like maybe it was a one-time payment. But here's the thing, though, Fabi. I don't think the league wants them to price gouge the team that wants him, because they want him to come to the league. So they're not going to be like, okay, you're held hostage. You got to pay $1 million in GAM, or we're not going to let you sign this guy. I think that they would come to some sort of agreement, because it's getting, if Neymar tells Chicago, hey, I'm not coming to Chicago, getting some money for his rights is better than just nobody getting anything.
Right. No,
so
that makes sense.
So I think maybe 400K would be the most they would get for him. But I would like to see him obviously come here. I honest to God don't care where he goes. But like I've told you guys, I don't want him to go to Miami as my first choice, because I want to see it broken up. But as long as he's here, I really don't care. I don't care. I just want to see him in MLS. I think he's a big name. and he's good enough to play in this league. He is good enough to play in Major League Soccer. So we need players here who will be appealing for people to want to watch, especially before a World Cup. And someone in the chat said that this is going to be Neymar's last World Cup appearance if he can get healthy and get fit. So he's going to be motivated, which is a key thing. He's going to be playing in a league that's hosting the World Cup during his last World Cup appearance, which is a big deal. So I just think that it's the perfect time for him to come. And he's only 32 years old. He could give you another good, if he's healthy, he'd probably play another 3 years at a decent level.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think all the years going up to this World Cup, so the 2 years, I think he's going to be able to actually put in good work because he wants to stay fit for that World Cup. But no, I don't know. I don't see Neymar going to a team that's not in the Club World Cup too. Like, you're going to want Neymar in that tournament, and he's going to want to be in that tournament. It's going to be hard for Chicago to even land a player like that. I really have it at like 5%. I really don't think Chicago has a chance.
Well, I think it's probably like 25%. I have it like 65% he comes to the league. But Robert says, what if Chicago plays chess, not checkers here? Hold the rights hostage, make the league step in like they did Beckham and Messi, etc., and they get rid of discovery rights. Boom, problem solved. Yeah, I mean that would be ideal. Hopefully we evolve and we are able to get to that point where we don't have discovery rights anymore.
I'm okay with discovery rights if it's not for the marquee players. Like, if it's for like young South Americans, okay, sure. But I think it's really dumb to say I discovered Neymar, Zlatan, all these world-class players, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. Now, speaking of other moves that the Chicago Fire have made, I think if I'm not mistaken, they've already agreed to terms with Jonathan Bamba. This is an interesting signing, and I don't know if you remember this, Fabi, but he was actually rumored in 2022 to be a potential target of LAFC. Oh. And that fell through, and they ended up signing Denis Bouanga. Now, I'm going to try to find this tweet of what they're going to pay for him, but he's 28 years old, left winger from France. He scored 3 goals for Celta, not ideal, Ivory Coast international, French-born, but this will be a DP. I don't know exactly what the fee is going to be for him. Now, I saw some people saying that this was a bad sign that Neymar wasn't going to come to Chicago because of this signing. But like I said earlier, I don't think that those necessarily are mutually exclusive, because you can play Neymar in several different positions. So
yeah.
I don't think those go hand in hand.
This is the last thing I'm going to say about Neymar, but they basically won't sign him up to play in the Saudi league too. They have too many international.
That's another key point. Yes.
So I could see him actually going for pretty cheap now because he's out of the squad completely. Like, this guy is basically just practicing, and that's it. I mean, he could play in the Asian Cup still, but he's basically not a Saudi league player at this moment, and it won't be.
Yeah, I think Jorge Jesus, the manager for Al Hilal, said he does not playing up to the standard of the club's goals, or he's just not meeting expectations. So he will not be registered as a player. So obviously, I think his move is inevitable. It's just a matter of when it will happen. Now, so Fabrizio had shared this earlier. He says, exclusive, red alert. Chicago Fire set to sign Jonathan Bamba from Celta Vigo. Deal agreed in principle. Final details to be discussed, and then he will fly for medical as soon as documents will be approved. Now, I want to look up and see what Bamba's actual transfer value is. Okay, so according to Transfer Market, his value is 4 million euros. He'll be a DP most likely. Kind of stagnated in La Liga when he went to Celta. Was very good at Lille, and I think he's a very good signing, especially for the Chicago Fire. But like I said a minute ago, he plays the left wing like Neymar does. This could indicate something, but then it could also not mean anything. They could play Neymar up top. But if they do sign him, do you think that this would decrease the chances that, I mean, you're already pretty low on it, but do you think this would decrease the chances that Neymar would sign with the Chicago Fire?
No, Greg Berhalter, when he was at MLS Media Day, said that they're in for a left winger DP anyway. So this is something that was probably in the works for I would say a couple of months, ever since Greg Berhalter has kind of come into the fold. So they have another slot open. So I'm still pretty low on the Neymar to Chicago, just because of just how weird this is. But personally, this move doesn't do anything to kind of stop Neymar coming from to Chicago. But still, I just don't see it happening.
Mr. Member of the channel, which I appreciate, says Bamba is a pretty good player. Well, if you think he's a pretty good player, then he's definitely good enough for Major League Soccer. So I expect him to contribute and be a good signing for them. So that's good to see that they're signing and adding some reinforcements. And also, real quick, because I don't think we're going to be talking about the Fire anymore in this stream, I wanted to say this too, Favi. I wonder if Hugo Cuypers, which is their striker, they spent $14 million on last year from I think it was the Belgian Pro League. I think it was Genk, if I'm not mistaken. I'm wondering if they will kind of do like what we've heard about with Evander, what we've heard about Lucho Costa. I wonder if they will sell him to another MLS team because he had a decent season, not great, but I wonder if they will try to sell him to another MLS team.
$14 million is a steep fee. And honestly, there's a whole bunch of strikers out there that you can basically kind of get for a lot cheaper. If Chicago's looking to take a loss on this guy, sure, they can sell him, but I doubt they're going to give up on him that quickly. So they still have a DP slot open, so they'll make room for Neymar if it happens. But I don't think this is a very, very like down the road signing. I think this is something that they're just talking to Neymar so that they can get Gam from Miami.
We'll see, but Hugo Cuypers, maybe they would be able to offload him because he's not necessarily the type of player that fits Greg Berhalter's system, whatever the hell that is. Maybe he maybe they're not going to get the $13 million they paid for him, but maybe they'd be willing to sell him for 7 to 8. And he's someone was decent in MLS, I think, in 2024. I don't remember how many. I know he scored double-digit goals. I just don't remember how many he scored. I want to say, okay, so he scored 10 goals in 31 matches, but Chicago was really bad last year. They didn't really have any playmakers to give him the ball. So maybe another team is willing to take a chance on him in 2025.
Yeah, no, and he's not washed. He's not cooked. I think last season Chicago Fire didn't have any sort of formation or any sort of foundation for winning soccer. So I mean, whatever he got last year is pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. So
127 people in the chat right now, Favi. We're at 58 likes. How have we not hit 100 likes yet, guys? We got to get those likes up. So many. Just need everyone watching this to like the video down below. Let's get those like numbers up. We're trying to hit 200 by tomorrow, man. We got to hit that number. So like this video down below, share with a friend if you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel. Now let's move on. We're going to do a rapid fire, just go through some of these and talk about a couple other moves. And then maybe answer a couple questions if we have a little time left over. But Fabrizio reported earlier today, understand Wilfred Zaha will join MLS side Charlotte FC. Deal verbally agreed to, and here we go, his famous catchphrase. He's expected to travel the next 24 to 48 hours for medical tests and contract signing, loan from Galatasaray until June of 2026. Now, I said that I think this is a pretty good move. I mean, probably better than pretty good move for Charlotte FC. How do you feel about them getting a player like this? They've been trying to get, not necessarily just a big fish, but a proven player in Europe to come to Charlotte for a couple years now. They've struck out. They try to get Marco Reus. They try to get Miguel Maron. How do you feel about this move?
Yeah, honestly, I'm a big fan of the move. I mean, I would say this is probably their biggest transfer in history. So they've always wanted to get a player like this. They always had the ambition for the player like this. You get a guy who's going to be good. I mean, he scored more goals than Benteke when they were at Crystal Palace, and he was on the wing, right? So if Benteke can cook this league, Zaha could definitely cook this league. So it's something that I'm excited to see. Charlotte's definitely going to have that bite in the attack. So I enjoy this. It's a loan. I mean, he comes in as a DP. There's really nothing you can say that is not going to make this player be the prime guy for Charlotte. And in my opinion, I think this is going to be a success right away. I mean, Charlotte's already good. So personally, I think this is great because they were missing that bite last year where they tried to go for Marco Reus and they failed. But this is their guy, and they got him. You know, they're going to have that playmaker when things get tough. They're going to look for Zaha to make a move.
Okay, so let's get to the controversial. For some reason, people have gotten so upset about this debate with me on Twitter today. It's Atlanta United, right? So they are talking to two strikers, obviously, Emmanuel Latte from Middlesbrough, there's reported that they're going to pay 20 million euros for him. And then today, we got a rumor that they made a 15 million pound bid for Crystal Palace striker Adsane Edouard. And he obviously played at Celtic. He was very good with Celtic. He's a PSG academy player. He went to Crystal Palace. He didn't do very well, not as well. And people, apparently there's some scandal with him with I think someone said a BB gun or something. I don't know exactly what it is, but there was some type of scandal with him. And everyone's saying he's lazy and he's not good anymore, whatever the case may be. But he's cheaper than Emmanuel Latte. And it's created a debate. People have been going at me all day about this. So I want to get everyone's opinion. I want to get your opinion on this. Which matters more? Would you rather have a guy, there's 1 year age difference between the two. Would you rather have a guy who has scored 26 goals in the championship, 26 goals in the championship and 56 appearances for 20 million euros? Or would you rather buy a guy who has scored in the Premier League, at least the first division? Like the other guy has never even played in the top 5 league. And when he did play in the Scottish Premier League, he was like the Golden Boot winner, I think 2 seasons. Like he was really, really good when he played for Celtic. Obviously, he hasn't panned out at Crystal Palace, but a lot of players don't pan out at Crystal Palace. Like it's not like Crystal Palace is just having hella crazy goal scorers developed and like they're just producing mad talent, you know? Like there are a lot of players that struggle at Crystal Palace. Which one do you think is the better value between the two?
Honestly, 15 million and 20 million to me is wild. I mean, this is MLS 5.0. Atlanta can spend whatever they want to get these players. I don't know. Personally, I would rather take the player that is already scoring goals in the top flight. And I understand the championship's a good league, but I would take the player that has already scored goals in the Premier League, but he has behavioral issues possibly. If it's a good organization like Atlanta United is, I don't have any doubt in my mind that you can go ahead and change a player and buy them into the system and pay a little less. $20 million is crazy. You know, it's insane to talk about that type of money. So I would feel better with the 15 million. But man, yeah, like go buy Hugo Cuypers, right? For 8 million, right? Like this is a thing where it's wild to see. But if Atlanta United has a blank check, then they're using their blank check. So it's truly interesting. We never seen Chris Henderson with a blank check. So this is the first time we get to see it. So it's interesting.
Well, someone brought up an interesting point. They asked, what was Cucho's Watford number? Like, how much did he sell for? Okay, so here's another thing. Cucho Hernandez started for Watford the year before he came to MLS, and I think he scored 4 goals, but he played on the wing. He didn't play up top. So Cucho Hernandez was sold to the Columbus Crew in 2022, the summer of 2022, for 9.5 million euros. So we're talking about a Premier League starting winger going for half of what a championship striker would be going for. Now, when I think a championship player costing 20 million, Favi, I'm thinking that they're at least scoring every other game, okay? Or probably, honestly, 60% of their games. He's not doing that. He's scoring less than every other game. Like, I wish people understood like how big of an overpay that is. Okay, maybe you don't agree with me. Maybe you don't want the Edouard to be the striker that Atlanta United chooses, but they could do so much better for the price.
Yeah,
I'm going to look up most valuable players in the South American leagues just to see what some players who they could get and the quality, but I just don't understand why they would pay so much for a guy who has only scored 26 goals in 56 matches in the championship. Kevin Danke scored 27 goals for the Belgian team he played for. He was the Golden Boot winner. He's 23 years old. He's younger, and they only paid 17 million for him. So I just don't understand what they're thinking. It feels like a hell of an overpay for someone who's just not really worth it.
Honestly, you could probably get Karim Benzema, maybe. I mean, like 20 million is wild, right? And Benzema wanted out. But yeah, 37-year-old. It's just insane. Like, I think Bobby Firmino is less money, right? Like, this is I don't know why. Yeah, you can go get Duncan McGuire too. You can get guys that are in the league. I just personally, I like the Miggy. I totally like the Miggy transfer. I'm not the biggest fan of this striker transfer personally, because like if he does well, I mean, you can't sell him for that money, so you're gonna take a loss on this no matter what.
Well, I'm pulling up the stats real quick because I want to get this right. Let's see. I'm just looking at South American. Let me zoom in on this so everybody can see. These are the top. These are
And
the
it's
top.
also not 18 million anymore. It's
20 million.
20 million now. So we went up.
Yeah. So I'm gonna look up the strikers. Most valuable. These are the most valuable strikers in the Brazilian league. Okay. So obviously they're not getting this guy, this winger from Palmeiras. He's worth 50 million. I mean, that's just not going to happen, right? But look at these other options they could have. I mean, Igor Jesus, which he just recently went to Botafogo, so I don't think they're going to sell him. But maybe someone like, I mean, what if now he's balling at Corinthians? What if they went and tried to get Memphis Depay? What if they could convince him to leave, a little early and come to MLS and play with Miguel Moran and Miranchuk? What about
look at a guy like Luciano Rodriguez, who won the World Cup with Uruguay, the U20 World Cup. He was linked to many MLS clubs. Honestly, that's another great player, a guy who's going to be playing for the Uruguayan national team, and he's valued at $8 million right now. He's probably going to jump up in price if he plays for the Uruguayan national team like this next season. So, no, I think there's definitely possibilities you can get other players that are good. Shoot, even Talis Magno down there, right? Like,
no, don't you dare. Don't you dare. No Talis Magno. He is terrible. He's been terrible in MLS. But, there's still players, man. Like, you could get more bang for while you're talking a little bit more about this, I'm going to go look and see what the most valuable strikers in the Eredivisie are. Just to see what they're worth, to see what strikers are worth over there, because it just feels like a hell of an overpay, man. It's just crazy. I don't understand what they're thinking, because DP spots are so valuable. You can't really fumble the opportunity or like the chance of who you sign. And I just feel like that guy specifically has bust, potentially written all over him if he does. I mean, 20, dude, when you're scoring, I just want everybody to realize this: when you're costing $20 million, you better be a top 3 player in the league. 100%. That would be the MLS transfer record, Favi. You better be a top 3 player in the league. You better be better than Cucho Hernandez if you're costing that much money.
Yeah, and that's a tall task. I mean, geez, the type of pressure that's going to come with that price tag. I mean, this man is going to have to score multiple goals. And then what if he doesn't win the Golden Boot, right? At $20 million, it's so insane to think about that MLS is at this point too, and that it's not even a player that any of us expected, right? So, no, I mean, Atlanta United, kudos to them. If they get Miggy, they get this transfer done, they're going to have a packed 60,000 person stadium once more. So it is interesting. Will, did you see how many likes we got? We got 75 likes. We're only 25.
75. We're only 25 away from 100, guys. We got 120 people watching right now. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Let's get that to 100 likes at least before the stream ends. And I think we've only gained 1 sub. I know some of you guys aren't subbed yet, so subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Just so that way you don't miss any of the content and you're up to date with everything going on. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to touch on before we do some Q&As or answer any questions. I think we've pretty much touched on everything, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, today I saw a video of Driussi going to Argentina to do his medicals. So that's basically a done deal. Driussi is gone. So they were working on the new guy, Uzuni, basically at the same speed as getting rid of Driussi. So I can expect both of those kind of happening. I see some chats here. Jamai, John Tolkien was a great player in MLS. He maybe has a future for the USMNT, so it's good to see him make that step to Europe. I mean, this was something that was coming for a long time, so I'm excited to see it. But yeah, I mean, what do you think?
John Tolkien, yeah, I think this is a little bit long overdue. I'll be curious to see what he will do. But hey, we got to talk about this too. I didn't even realize, man, so much has been happening. So Robert said Uzuni to Austin. Austin FC agreed to $12 million deal to sign new DP forward Austin FC has agreed to a deal to sign Albanian international forward Mirto Uzuni from Granada CF. Now, let's look at this guy real quick, because I think that if this guy is a forward, I'm very curious to see what his goal. Keep in mind, he's playing in La Liga. He's 29 years old. He's a little older. Okay, look at this, guys. This is another thing. Not trying to go back into the Atlanta United thing, but this guy scored 11 goals in La Liga. Okay, La Liga. He scored 11 goals last year, and he's going to cost $12 million. Now, I think he scored more goals this year. I don't have an up to date on how many he scored for Granada this season. But he scored more in the first division, this arguably top 3 league in the world, than Emmanuel Latte. So I don't know. I just think it's an overpay. But it is a little weird that they would double dip like that, isn't it, Fabi? You're spending $10 million on Brendan Vasquez, and then you're going to spend $12 million on a striker. Like, if they lose Driussi, who's going to be their playmaker? Who's going to be feeding them? Who's going to be feeding these guys the ball?
It's going to be Bukhari, the guy who they spent $7 to $8 million on. So Austin FC has spent about $30 million in this last 2 transfer windows. This is MLS 5.0. This is an insane
MLS 5.0.
No, but think about it. I mean, Atlanta's dropping, 35 million in 1 week, while Austin's dropping 30 million in 2 transfer windows. It's still crazy to see. Austin is trying to be ambitious, and man, oh man, am I excited. On the other flip side of another team in Texas, Peter Musa is all of a sudden getting some rumors linked to him now. Is Dallas going to sell Peter Musa too? I mean, I saw that there was a link that the Third Degree, shout out to them, they retweeted today that Peter Musa is picking up steam in some transfer talks. So imagine FC Dallas with nothing while Austin is spending about $30 million. It's going to be a big shift in Texas. I think as of right now, I think Austin's the best team in Texas, which is kind of weird to say.
Well, real quick, D-Life, a friend of the show, he says, you don't think a guy scoring over 20 goals in the championship was going to the Premier League really soon, though? I think there's a chance, but I have seen, as long as I've been watching soccer, Favi, there have been several players who have really good stints in the Premier League or in the championship, and they don't do anything in the Premier League. They completely flop. So I think that that's very rare that you do well in the championship and you do really well in the Premier League. But that's the thing. He wasn't even doing very, very well in the championship. I mean, he's been good, but it's not like he was Mitrovic, like he was at Fulham where he was scoring every game. He was doing okay. Nothing special. Like, it's not the craziest thing I've ever seen. So like I said, I'm just overwhelmed, or excuse me, I'm not overwhelmed. I'm underwhelmed by his performance with the club. Okay, guys, we got about 10 more minutes. We'll go. If you guys have any questions for me and Favi, fire them away.
I saw one earlier that was, what's your best 3 transfers of the offseason? That's a good question. Whoever said that.
Best 3 transfers of the offseason. Ooh, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I think number 1 for me has to be Chicho Arango. I think getting Chicho Arango for the amount of GAM they did, even with the locker room issues that the GM RSL GM said they had today. Personally, he's an MVP candidate in this league, and if you get him for 1.5 million in GAM, that is a win. The Earthquakes, it's a highway robbery for the Earthquakes. I mean, shoot, Atlanta could have got Chicho Arango, and they would have been better than 20 mil on Latte Lath. Another one that's a great transfer. All right, you guys are gonna hate me for this one, but personally, I think. Can I say selling? Is that fair?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I don't think they said only incoming, right? They just said transfers.
Yeah, I think Zaha is a good one. Getting Zaha on a loan, finally getting that player that's going to have a bite for Charlotte, is great. And then the third transfer, I think selling Alan Velasco for a 12 million coming off of an ACL tear is something that's a great deal of business for FC Dallas to get your money back plus some extra from the Argentinian league. And I'll add Driussi into that because, man, I saw a video with Driussi just getting swarmed by all those Argentinian fans. I've never seen these Argentinian fans go crazy for their former players. So it's so interesting to see this. But yeah, those 3 or 4 transfers, I say, are my favorites of the offseason. What about yours?
Okay, I like Kevin Danke a lot for Cincinnati because he's incredibly efficient at scoring goals. He's only 23 years old or 24 years old. I think he has a lot of potential and room for growth. I think I like the Facundo Torres sell to Palmeiras. They got like 12, $13 million for him. I think that was good business by them. I think they only paid $8 million for him. Hopefully Orlando City SC can replace him. And they, because without him, I think there's going to be a huge hole for their team, obviously in 2025. And my third one, I'm going to have to copy you just because of the bargain. I mean, Chicho Arango for 1.5 million in GAM, he could be a huge difference maker. He could probably be close to winning the Golden Boot in 2025. He could, I mean, he was winning it before, the suspension and the whole derailment of his season. He was on fire. He was probably the MVP of the league.
Right.
And had RSL playing, probably is the best team in the league, at least in the Western Conference. So those are probably my three. Now, let me ask you this. Let me flip it on your side. Now, okay, this is a good one too. Two people have said Bogusz. Now, Bogusz going to Cruz Azul for 12 million. That is absolutely, cashing out, man. That is
12 times.
That's capitalizing.
Yeah, they bought him for 1 million, right? So like 12 times.
Yeah. 1.5 million. And then someone asked earlier, what did we think about the LAFC rebuild? I really don't know what to think about it because I think that LAFC are hitting the reset button. They're trying to get rid of a lot of pieces. I don't know what they're planning to do.
The fan base is turning on Kike Oliveira. I mean, he's not reporting in. He said the fires are the reason why he's not reporting in, but now he's coming out and saying that he would love to play for another team. So honestly, if they lose Bogusz, Kike Oliveira, and possibly Bouanga, it would be a wild offseason for LAFC. Personally, if you're LAFC, I don't have a problem with selling off these guys. I mean, you have to be a selling club if you buy young talent like Bogusz. Okay, 12 million, that's great deal of business. Kike Oliveira, you sell him to a Mexican club or a Brazilian club, you make about 10 million. Great deal of business. Bouanga, if you want to keep him, you can keep him. But I think you have to build this team around Giroud and the possibility of Griezmann coming. So personally, I like this LAFC rebuild. You're LA, right? You can really wait and see what players want to play for you. So this is something that's pretty interesting. And also, yeah, David Martinez is the guy they bought, a guy who they're waiting for to take that next step. That's a great player. He's really saucy. So I'm excited to see if he goes ahead and makes that next step for them. And I don't think LAFC ends in the last place of the West. They're going to make the playoffs, but sell your players, make that money, and save it for when Griezmann comes.
Good friend of the show, Andrew, says Metro Bulls. He's also Metro Bulls TV. He says opinions on the Red Bulls offseason so far. Andrew, I want you to come close to me real quick, man. We need to have a talk. Things were looking good, man, and then everything else happened, and I don't know what the hell the Red Bulls are doing. I wish they would have done a little bit more. Now they signed the one striker, the Bayern Munich backup, name slipping my mind for the moment. Who was it? Choupo-Moting, yes. That's just not going to cut it, man. This is your team. Obviously, made it to the MLS Cup final, had a lot of momentum, but they got to do more. They're selling John Tolkien, right? But they've got to add some more pieces. Emil Forsberg cannot do it himself. Lewis Morgan cannot do it himself. They need to add some more quality players. Add some U22s. He says, hurt my feelings. It's okay. Man, listen, it's frustrating because they had all this momentum. They were literally the runner-up, and they needed to add pieces. Like, look at the LA Galaxy. They just won the MLS Cup, and they're spending $7 million on a U22. They're signing a Premier League veteran and Anderlecht starting center back. And oh God, what's his name? It's Jorgensen, I think is his real last name, but I forgot what his nickname is. They call him. But they're adding pieces. They're being proactive. So I think that it's disappointing, but we'll see what happens. Maybe they have something. Maybe they have something lined up in the summertime.
What team has won the offseason for you?
You're asking me that?
Yeah.
Zonka, by the way, is his name. The team that's won the offseason for me right now is a tie. It's between which Atlanta United could enter that fold if they get some of these deals officially signed, because nothing's official, right? But I would say the two teams that are standing out to me right now are Inter Miami, because they've cut a lot of dead weight and they're adding some good pieces, and San Jose. I think those are the two teams that really stood out to me. And I appreciate, yes, I don't know how I forgot that name. Now, I want to get to two comments real quick. Davey says exclusive scoop has CFG offering KBD a contract extension with MLS in mind. He may even end up in New York when he calls it quits with Man City. Man, I've been hearing that for years that they're going to sign these dudes. Yeah, Toure is going to sign an extension with Man City, and then he's going to New York. It never happens. It never happens like that. They always say that, and they haven't had one single player that played for Man City go to New York City FC. But Fabi, before I read this other comment, I want to ask you, who do you think are the winners of the offseason? Because I want to get your opinion on that as well.
Yeah, as of right now, I gotta say Miami. I mean, Miami's making all these deals. There was like 4 of them today, and they're getting better. I mean, they're a good team already. They're getting better. I don't see Columbus getting that much better. I don't see Cincinnati getting better because they might lose Lucho Acosta, right? So for me, it's got to be either Miami or it's got to be Austin. Austin is spending money like crazy. I think it's something where they're going to be a player in the Western Conference, and they're giving their fan base hope again. This fan base is probably more excited for this season than they were for their first season. And I think they're going to be a legit player in the Western Conference. I think you're going to see other teams like Houston and RSL drop off horribly. And I think you're going to see guys like San Jose and Austin take advantage. But 100%, I think the winners have been either Miami or Austin.
I have to address this. You forget Lampard. Hey, to be fair, Lampard was introduced as a New York City FC player way before he was Manchester City. They had him loaned out to Man City to keep him fit in order to be a New York City FC player, or to come in and be fit, and when he played for the team. And then he was playing so well as a super sub that they ended up extending his loan the whole entire season, which pissed off a lot of New York City FC fans. So, and then they try to lie and say, no, he was actually a Man City player first. No, he never even wanted to play for another Premier League team. He was Chelsea all the way through and through. So yes, he was not technically, he was a New York City FC player first and was on loan to New York or to Manchester City because they hadn't started their season yet. There was an interesting question. John Rollins said, Orlando could sell Cesar Araujo. Who should they sign from an MLS club as a replacement defensive midfielder?
Carlos Gresso from San Jose. But he'll be a DP. Carlos Gresso from San Jose plays for Ecuador.
No.
He's a starter for Ecuador.
Man, honestly, John, it would have been nice to see them make a move for Brugman from LA Galaxy. That would have been a really good move. I think he would have been a good replacement, but obviously Nashville got him. I'll be interested to see who they replace. I'm going to be more interested to see who they replace Facundo Torres with. Because like I said earlier, that's going to be someone that they really miss, I think, in 2025. Obviously, we'll see. I think that if Oscar Pereira doesn't do anything significant this year, he could be out. I mean, we've been saying that for years, right?
Or do you go for RSL Zanelli, right?
Elie actually signed with Austin FC, so he can't. He signed with Austin FC a week or two ago.
Yeah.
So he's out. Let's see, a couple more questions. We're at the hour mark. We're gonna take 2 more questions, and then we're gonna wrap it up. Which we appreciate you all for hopping on tonight.
86 likes. Do you think we can hit 100?
Can we hit 100, guys? We're only 14 away. Let's get to 100 likes. Let's see what questions we have. It says, thoughts on LAFC being the new Klein Galaxy. I am an LA Galaxy fan. I wouldn't go that far yet.
I don't think it's that bad.
I don't think it's that. Well, let's give them the summer, because here's the thing. If they don't do anything significant this summer, then I think we're going to start to see some people get fired. And we're going to start to see something happen. So I think it's a little premature for that.
Yeah, and I basically LAFC is a great organization. They're always going to be a player. It's LA. They're going to get guys that are interested. Shoot, when Memphis Depay is done playing in Brazil, maybe he goes to LA in 6 months, right? So I don't know, man. LA is always going to be a player. They're a great organization. They're always going to be good.
Okay, now this one, I'm going to do this last question by John again, just because I have a little bit of something I heard earlier from one of my friends. He says Orlando and Evander interest is real. He would be a great Facundo Torres replacement. John, I agree with that completely. Obviously, the Evander Brazilian connection and the population here are there in Orlando. That would be a very good replacement. I think he would be maybe a difference maker that could put them over the top and help them win an MLS Cup. What do you think about that, Bobby? Evander to Orlando.
Yeah, look, I love Evander. I think he's an MVP in this league. You take him on, you bring him into the Eastern Conference, he's going to be your superstar. He's Brazilian. I know Orlando City loves Brazilian 10s, right? I mean, Kaká. So the connection's already there. But does Cincinnati pay more for Evander than Orlando does? That's another player. If Lucho Acosta leaves, they're going to have a open spot for Evander as well. So that's another one. Also, where does Lucho go? Is Lucho going to now go to FC Dallas? Is he going to possibly go to Miami? Is he going to go to Orlando? Right. Lucho Costa's another player. I mean, his price tag's probably around very similar to Evander's, 9 to 10 million. So it's interesting to see where those two players land, because I think those two players are going to basically determine where the other is going to go, in my opinion.
You want to know a team that I heard was interested in Evander today?
Who?
I was talking to a friend and someone who's pretty close to this club, and a team that I really hadn't connected Evander with that seems that like they could be interested in buying him from Portland is Toronto FC. They have a DP spot open. They're potentially going to offload Lorenzo Insigne because of his terrible deal, and he's been a bust for him since 2022 when he signed. Evander, man, that would be interesting. The team hasn't really been good since they had Alejandro Pasuelo and Jovinko. Like, that's when the last time they were worth a damn. Every time that they are any good, they always have a dynamic playmaker, and that's what Evander is. So that I would say that Toronto FC is a dark horse team to keep an eye out for Evander. We will see if that happens.
What if Toronto offered to pay some of Insigne's salary and then send Insigne to Portland?
Dude, they would not take him for free. They would not take him for free. I don't think that's going to happen. John says, yeah, since he want him to. Yeah, I think Danke and Evander would be incredible. But I think I'm going to end it here. Hour and 5 minutes, back-to-back nights. Fabi, I've done like 5 streams in the last 6 days, which is crazy, dude. I hope you guys enjoy these. Let's see what our like count's at right now. Let's see what we got to.
We get 6
94. We're 6 away from 100. Come on, guys. Let's get to 100 before we end the stream. I appreciate you all for tuning in. My boy Fabian Rankel, the best MLS journalist in that there is. No. Go follow him on X at Fabian Rankel. Go follow him on Instagram at the same @name. Go follow him on Threads. He might be the only one posting on there, but damn it, go follow him on Threads. Go follow him on there. And hopefully he'll join us again soon. And he's got some good pieces on SBI.
Thank you.
Good stuff to read. Got a good piece on Surreal if you haven't watched that.
Also a good piece on Evander, right? I sat down with
great piece on Evander.
Yeah, and talked about his connection to Ronaldinho. So if you're interested in that, hey, that's another Orlando City kind of link. I feel like, those Brazilian 10s, it's gonna happen.
Go watch or go read his Surreal. Go read his Evander article. They're both great. Also, like the show down below if you haven't already. Like I said, we're close to 100. We'll check here in a second and see what we are at. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the little bell notification. And also, if you like the channel, consider being a member of the channel. 10 cents a day helps us out, especially if you like the content. I greatly appreciate it. We're going to have some members-only events coming up soon. So become a member if you haven't already. And until next time, guys.
I dropped this little news before I went on stream, but supposedly the Barca boys, all 4 of them, are going to be in Vegas. So bearing any last-minute injuries, they will be in Vegas. So if you're going to be in Vegas or you're going to be close to Vegas, it's a good time to see the Barca boys versus Club America. It's the best team in Mexico for the last 3 seasons. So, yeah, Barca boys versus Club America. I love it.
MLS is back, baby. Preseason's here. Can't wait to watch this. Appreciate you all for tuning in tonight. Until next time, guys, I will see you all soon.